Oh my gosh. Hello everyone. Welcome to this podcast session. You're not going to believe what just happened recently. Recently, I just realized Lancia is back in town and this is the most exciting thing ever. Oh my goodness. Lancia's back in town with the Ypsilon. Lancia's back in town to rock the show with a bit of style, but not so much, I saw the new Lancia Ypsilon, and I have to say it was basically an Opel Corsa with a bit of style. And I have to say that because the very first time I saw it last year. In fact, I reviewed it. You can check the link in the description for my YouTube video where I reviewed the Lancia Ypsilon. And I have to say, it really was awesome to look at. It looked stylish, but then at very first impression, I saw the side of it, and I thought, did someone just buy an Opel Corsa and put some style to it? Because it looked better than an Opel Corsa, likewise. It looked stylish, but that's the thing. Because the real Lancias, they actually had their own style to it. They had their own jam. That was how awesome it was. But now it's like, with Stellantis happening, I guess there's a lot of part sourcing. So it was too obvious that something was not exactly very Lancia-ish about the car. But it's not a very, very, very big deal, guys, because it's quite a unique car nonetheless. Beautiful Italian car, which radiates Italy, guys. From Italy, there are a number of wonderful, wonderful things like Italian food, Italian culture. It's just beautiful. Mamma mia, the Lancia Ypsilon. It's really nice. I really like the Lancia Ypsilon. Actually, that's how it's supposed to be pronounced, guys. The real Italian pronunciation of the Lancia brand is actually Lancia. Lancia. I used to say Lancia because that's, I don't know. I mean, that's how, I made that mistake. I mean, that's how I was told of it since childhood. Now, I wanted to, before we go further talking about Lancia's comeback, I just want to talk to you all a little bit about my experience with Lancia cars since childhood. When I was a child, as a kid, I always saw a lot of Lancia Ypsilon vehicles, but I noticed they seemed to be seen as sort of premium compared to what Fiat cars were. Because I used to live in the city, in Ixelles, and I never saw that many Lancias. In fact, I only saw them in the suburbs. So it seems like Lancia cars possessed the similar status as Mini cars today and before. Because if you look at cars like Mini, they seem to be a bit kind of on the premium level compared to something like a Honda Civic, okay, or something like a Volkswagen Golf, let's say, because the Minis, they want to present themselves as something a bit between posh and mass market, if that makes any sense. So similar philosophy I noticed with Lancia back in the days, I know a student in my school whose mother had one. It was a really nice car. I actually know a lot of students in my school whose parents drove a Lancia Ypsilon. Great car. And then I also noticed along the years they had some really nice cars like the Lancia Phedra and then the Lancia. I don't know what model it is, but it begins with TH. I'm actually going to check it out right now. Bear with me, guys. Lancia Thema. No, is it Thema? No, it's not the Thema, because the Thema was the one that was basically a rebadged Chrysler 300. That was a nice car, but it didn't really see much public presence here in Belgium. They disappeared very, very quickly. This is how unfortunate things were for them. I think it's the Lancia Thesis. Yes, that's right. It's the Lancia Thesis, everyone. The Lancia Thesis was quite a nice car, but I think it had a curse of living in the shadows of the German competitors here in Belgium. And, it was a nice car, but then, I mean, for one reason or another, it just never saw the same level of popularity as the German competitors. And I'm looking at the interior, the quality was definitely not on par or comparable to what the Germans were even offering, guys. So I can fully understand what's actually going on here. But the thing about the Lancia brand, and then they also had the Lancia Phedra, which was the minivan. The minivan was quite nice. It was actually supposed to be a premium version of the Fiat Ulysses, which I think was the Fiat version of that minivan. And then also you had the Peugeot 807 and then the Citroën C8. These were called the Eurovans. So they were basically a group of minivans that had the platform sharing. It was all badge engineering, if you know. And Lancia was always marketed as a sort of the most premium. They were on the premium level, and that was actually quite nice, the way they went about it. But then somewhere in the 2010s, they disappeared. They even had before their disappearance, they had rebadged Chrysler vehicles. So they had a rebadged Chrysler 300 as a Lancia Thema, and then they had a Lancia Voyager. Well, I think it was called the Lancia Voyager because it was basically a Chrysler Voyager, which in the USA was known as the Chrysler Town and Country. And that also, for some reason, didn't see much popularity here in Belgium and for that matter in Europe, because in Europe they had other competitors, and that too, the MPV class is diminishing in favor of crossover SUVs and of course minibuses. And then EV cars, today the EV cars have become a big deal. So the thing is, back to topic, guys. When it comes to I was about to say Chrysler. When it comes to Lancia, they disappeared in the mid 2010s. My apologies, mid 2010s, and it's a bit of a mystery what really happened. Although from what I read on sources, they maintained activity to Italy. Their activity was limited to only Italy, and that's it. Now, in recent years, well, more like just about last year, they made a very shocking comeback. I literally froze when I spotted that Lancia Ypsilon. I was really, really surprised, and it was such a positive development. In fact, I can look at pictures of it right now, guys, and I'll show you all what I'm talking about. It is so cool. Basically, the car looks like a rolling work of art. But then as soon as I sat inside it, I saw a bit of a deja vu. It's something about the interior reminded me of the Fiat Multipla, and that was quite an interesting car, mind you. The Fiat Ypsilon, the Fiat, oh my god, I can't believe I just had Fiat Ypsilon. I mean, the Fiat Multipla was the kind of car which is... it was one of the most practical cars I've ever seen, but at the same time, it was just so embarrassing to be seen driving in one of these. It was like the Chrysler PT Cruiser of Europe. That's basically my thought of the Fiat Multipla. But then when it comes to Lancia, the Lancia Ypsilon, the interior is stylish, I give you that, but it's just circles everywhere, and something about the way it was designed reminded me of the Fiat Multipla a bit. That's the thing. And it shares the same platform as that of the Peugeot 208 and the Citroën C3. So this is, again, a lot of platform sharing within Stellantis, guys. Well, actually, the Citroën released the new C3, so I'm not sure if it's the same platform, but you get the idea. The thing about the Lancia Ypsilon is that it's a nice city car, I think. It has great potentials over there, and it's got really, really, this is a great initiative for the Lancia brand, and that too, Stellantis. In fact, I'm just trying to check right now, ladies and gentlemen, if this is indeed offered as an electric. So far, from many sources I'm seeing, they're offering it as a petrol. So it's offered as a petrol, and that's it. So it's petrol engines, guys. So far from what I see, but maybe I am wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about what I just said. So don't take my words as the gospel. But what I can definitely tell you all is that seeing Lancia is a great surprise. It's a great pleasure, and this is Stellantis doing some diversification. That way, they don't put all eggs in one basket with Fiat, Peugeot, and Citroën competing in the mass market. And so it's nice to have something with a premium touch to it. Now, I have some theories about what's really going to happen with Lancia. Based on the presentation of their showroom, from what I spotted and what I was being told, they're going to be marketed as something a bit upper spec, you see? So something a bit on the premium leaning side. So my theory is that it's probably going to pick a fight with Mini. So I think that Mini is going to have some nightmares. Do you really know what's probably going to happen? Mini's going to be like, no, please, I'm so sorry. No, Lancia, get lost. No. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's either that's gonna happen or Mini's just gonna be cringing. I one of these two is gonna happen because let's face it. Although let's face it, if Mini's gonna cringe at Lancia, I think the engineers at Lancia are probably cringing at Mini because let's be really honest, Mini cars of today are BMW cars with a bit of style. You know, they have the same underpinning as a BMW. Okay, they share the same base as a BMW. So I don't really think this is going to be a cringing match. But hey, you know what? Mini has got company officially. I think. I mean, they're not going to be the only ones making posh looking hatchbacks. They finally have a car. There's finally a car that's going to pick a fight with them. Can you believe this, guys? Finally. And then we have DS Automobiles, guys. DS Automobiles. Basically, let me think. A Peugeot with a bit of glitter on top. And then voila. It's all stylish. It's all flamboyant. Oh my goodness. So as to what's really going to happen to Mini from this point, I think, so far from what I've reviewed of Mini cars are actually better. They've gotten techie. They're very cute and everything. Oh my god, when I say cute, I'm referring to the infotainment system. It is so awesome. I really like it. I reviewed the Countryman. I saw the configuration you can choose on the website, the choice of paint, the choice of wheels, and it's awesome. It's so cool. I like it. So I really hope this is going to be the same case for Lancia. But then there's a fundamental difference because when it comes to BMW, and then also the Volkswagen Group, both of them have one of the best infotainment system in the automotive industry. Whereas when it comes to Stellantis, if anything, has not exactly been famed for its infotainment system, although their infotainment system is good and engaging, okay? Their infotainment system is, let's say, slightly above average because they will give you infotainment systems that get the work done, okay? That's how great it is. And based on what I've seen on certain cars, you can even have night vision mode on the dashboard. This is cool. I saw this on Peugeot cars. I know that certain Peugeots actually offered this on certain cars. And I think this technology is being shared. I really don't know. Don't take my word as the gospel, guys. Maybe I'm mistaken on this regard, but I remember hearing about this option. It's a cool option. But back to topic, guys. We're talking about the infotainment system of Stellantis cars. Do you guys want to know something a bit embarrassing? In my opinion, I found this a bit embarrassing. I reviewed a Jeep Grand Cherokee last year. And, great, nice, full-sized SUV meant to pick a fight with the BMW X5, except with a BMW X5 and a Mercedes GLE, they have their own indigenous infotainment system. Whereas with the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the infotainment system looked very similar to what I saw in a Peugeot. So, in my opinion, that was a bit embarrassing, and I seriously hope that's not going to be the case for Lancia, because Lancia has to be very, very passionate, very, very proud. Oh my God, this is exactly what I'm craving for. Some Italian passion. Lancia. Oh, please, Lancia. Bring back your pride, because look at this. Look at the design. Mamma mia, it's beautiful, but at the same time, it's quite obvious it's an Opel Corsa with some style to it. I can just go right now to some, reunion where people have their hot hatches, which they think looks so cool, but all it really is someone with an Opel Corsa with a big exhaust and big massive engine, and a guy stands to his Corsa like, yeah, it's an Opel Corsa. What are you going to do about it, bro, with a Volkswagen Golf? And that's when I'm going to be like, that's why I don't get hot hatches. I crashed the party with my Nissan Navara. oh my gosh. Imagine a Nissan Navara with a Nissan GTR engine to it. Hot hatch fanboys would be crying. Oh my gosh, they'd see, who's this guy with a Nissan pickup which has a Nissan GTR engine in it? Okay, how did I jump from talking about Lancia to talking about hot hatches? Oh, right, because somebody, what's actually surprising? I've been to many hot hatch communities, and it's very rare somebody in that community will have an Italian car. I know somebody with a Fiat Tipo hot hatch. That's very unique, by the way, because many people in those hot hatch communities will go straight for something Volkswagen group. So a Volkswagen Polo or a Volkswagen Golf. The Volkswagen Golf is the most popular hot hatch here in Belgium, hands down. But I don't know if I can say the same about Lancia. Everyone, Lancia. Let's talk more a little bit about Lancia. Let's see what these guys are up to for now. Because as of lately, they have this one hatchback, which is awesome, which is very, very cool. But at the same time, I'm really, really curious to know what else is they're going to be up to. Because you see, the Lancia brand changed drastically over the decades. Over the decades! Can you believe it? Everybody has got their jam, but Lancia plans on sticking out. Oh! Seriously, on a serious note, I'm being serious right now. Lancia lost the plot, I think, in the 90s. But then it's not entirely their fault. I think it's probably the restructuring that went across the Fiat. That's right. Fiat had some restructuring. And let's just say from that point, Lancia disappeared. Because, it's a shame. Lancia was actually like the Subaru of Europe at some point. They were kicking everybody in rally back in the 70s and in the 80s. There's this Lancia car I'm thinking of. I think it's a Lancia Delta, or is it the Beata? I'm not sure which Lancia it is, but there's one particular Lancia that was so reputed for the rally. In fact, it had twin headlights. It was so sexy. The twin headlights. That's how good it was. But unfortunately, Lancia, I have no idea what exactly is Lancia's plan at this point. But again, the big conclusion I see is that they want to be an upper spec version of whatever you see of Fiat cars and Peugeot Citroën vehicles. Which makes me feel a bit sorry for Opel at this point, because it feels like Opel is now in the shadows of most Stellantis car manufacturers, because it's like, if you think about it, not many people talk about Opel cars anymore. So it's, yeah. And so, yes, when it comes to the Stellantis in general, there's a lot of parts sharing going on. There's a lot of platform sharing from what I've observed. But at the same time, they've been successful, guys. I've seen the Belgian roads are full of Stellantis cars. And this is how good it is, guys. It is really good. I'm actually quite impressed for Stellantis. And they have been really, really making great gains in that regard. I'm actually quite impressed with their initiatives towards electric cars, especially what they did for Maserati. I last year had the pleasure of reviewing a Maserati Grecale Folgore, which is the electric crossover SUV. If I'm not mistaken, it shares the same underpinning as the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. And I have to say, it's a great, impressive crossover SUV, although it's for me personally, it doesn't feel like a real Maserati. It's the same problem everybody had when they first saw the Porsche Cayenne. Many people felt like the Porsche Cayenne is not a real Porsche. The real Porsche is the Model 911, right? The Porsche Model 911. That's the real Porsche. Same for Maserati. The real Maserati is something like the Gran Turismo or the Quattroporte. That's the real Maserati. Whereas something like an SUV, a crossover SUV from them, I mean, it's quite obvious they're just doing it for competition. And to be fair, they're not alone in this. Bentley did the same for the Bentayga. Rolls-Royce just did the same for the Cullinan. And I wouldn't be surprised. I think also Ferrari did something not so different with the Purosangue, the Ferrari Purosangue. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, guys. But all I can just say is that it's pure awesome. That's awesome. I'm not gonna lie, they look cool. Crossover SUVs based on reputed manufacturers like Ferrari, Bentley, Rolls-Royce. It's great. It's great. I don't see any problem over there personally. But back to Lancia. I have a theory about what's really going to happen with Lancia. I wouldn't be surprised if in the coming years, a crossover SUV might emerge from them. And you know what would actually be my dream come true? My dream come true would be that they release an SUV that's based on the same chassis as an Alfa Romeo Stelvio, because that way they can pick a fight with Mercedes GLC. Oh my God, that would be awesome. And the BMW X3. Finally, these guys will have company. Finally, we'll have a nice, beautiful Italian luxury SUV. Yeah! Woo! That would be awesome. No, seriously, on a serious note, if they could actually do that, that would be so cool. I really, really want to see this. If they can do this, that would be great. Although I know this will create a bit of an outcry because people will say it's not a real Lancia at this point. People will say it's just, Porsche and Lotus situation where they once were reputed sports car manufacturers, which have now resorted to creating electric crossover SUVs and SUVs all for competition's sake. So, well, guess what? In this day and age, everybody's guilty of it. All car manufacturers are guilty of it. So what stops Lancia for joining the festival? Oh, whatever. You guys get the idea. You guys get my idea. You guys get my point. But seriously, I think Stellantis, it's high time they release a luxury SUV to pick a fight with the BMW X3, or should I say BMW X5, and then of course the Audi Q7, and then of course the Mercedes GLE, and then of course eventually the Mercedes G-Wagon. Yes. Oh my gosh. Guys, have you noticed? I don't think Stellantis has an ultra luxury SUV. Oh gosh. Plot twist. Stellantis, do they have an ultra luxury SUV? The closest I can think of would be something from Fiat Chrysler's side. Maybe something from Jeep, like the Jeep Wagoneer. But the Jeep Wagoneer, maybe in Europe, can be seen as an ultra-luxury SUV. The fact that you have to import it and then, I don't know. I really don't know about the process, guys. But still, that's not exactly an ultra-luxury SUV because... Yeah, because if you look at the Volkswagen Group, they have the ultra-luxury SUVs like the Lamborghini Urus and the Bentley Bentayga. And then if you look at BMW, they have the Rolls-Royce Cullinan. If you look at Mercedes, they have the G-Wagon and the GLS Maybach. So I think it's high time Stellantis definitely has something. If they could base something off Maserati, well, actually Maserati should remain sporty. So maybe if they could do something off Lancia, that would be awesome. Oh, and besides, it shouldn't be new, guys. It's not new because years ago, Lancia made premium MPVs like the Lancia Phedra and the Lancia Voyager. So why can't they just release something awesome like something like a Lancia? Okay, now I'm trying to think of a nice name for that Lancia SUV. Let's think of a nice name, guys. Let's think of a nice name for that Lancia SUV. How do we say big in Italian? Oh my gosh. Let's check this out, guys. I'm curious. How do we say big in Italian? I'm not sure. Okay, you know what? Let's just forget about this assignment. This is not my assignment, okay? I'm not gonna make a name for that new Lancia, but all I know is that it has to be big, proud, and Italian, and quite luxurious. I want to feel cool driving that thing, and it should not be about engine power, okay? Because it's like driving when it comes to the ultra luxury SUVs. It's like fine wine. You drink it slowly and appreciate the flavor. It's not like Coca Zero, which you just drink in one go and then, woo, enjoy the Dolce Vita. Although the Lancia Ypsilon, the Lancia cars, should feel like the Dolce Vita. That's the point. It has to feel like the Dolce Vita. We're living like in the Dolce Vita. That's how it should feel. Anyways, so... when I reviewed the Lancia Ypsilon, I remember the dimensions are very similar to that of the Opel Corsa. It's not very far off, not very different. And guys, I have to say that it was actually one of my dream cars at one point. It's like it was love at first sight. I saw it and I instantly fell for it. The price is quite reasonable for this kind of car. It's a really, really nice car, I tell you. Great initiative by Lancia and great initiative by Stellantis for this matter. And I think Mini finally has company. I think Mini is not alone anymore. And I have this feeling that Lancia might work on an SUV or a crossover SUV or a full-size SUV in the future. And if that really happens, that would be awesome. And also, further, moving on, I seriously hope that Lancia eventually carves out its own identity. That would be a really, really nice thing to do because at this point, too much parts sharing within Stellantis, that's, kind of diluting the identity right there, if you know what I'm saying. But that's just my opinion, okay? That's my personal opinion, my personal thought. And to be fair, Stellantis is not guilty of this alone. The Volkswagen Group are also doing this excessively. Like if you look at the Bentley Bentayga, it's the same platform as the Audi Q7, Volkswagen Touareg, and the Porsche Cayenne, and same for BMW. You know, they have some of their cars sharing the same underpinning, like the Mini Cooper and the BMW 1 Series, if I'm not mistaken. You see, so parts sharing, platform sharing is universal practice nowadays. It's everybody's coming up with this in order to save costs, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case with Toyota and Lexus. Yeah, because to develop your own platform, that's a very, very expensive investment, a very big investment. Now, when it comes to Chrysler, it's very interesting what's happening. We've not heard from them in ages here in Europe. In fact, they vanished in the 2000s, it seems. It's so I'm very curious. Maybe Stellantis will take more initiatives in bringing some American versions of their vehicles to Europe. So either they'll be rebadged Chryslers, or either there will be actual Americans being in Europe. So let's say a real Chrysler will be shipped to Europe. Or I hope they bring the Dodge Ram to Europe, because the Dodge Ram, I just had the pleasure of reviewing the Ford F-150. It was great piece of American technology right there. And if the Dodge could do the same with the Ram, bring it to Europe officially, you know, not through some third party, through their own, like let's bring it here to Europe, a European spec, that would be awesome. That would be the best thing ever, guys. I seriously hope that will be the case. And this today has been an exciting day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy you guys joined me on my podcast right now. This is my 4th podcast. Thank you for watching this podcast till now, guys. And if you haven't subscribed, push the subscribe button. And I reviewed most of the Stellantis cars. They're awesome. Honestly, they have style with them. They have the looks. They have the character. They have the energy. And when I heard the news that Lancia is back in town, I was really relieved. I was very happy, actually, for Stellantis in that regard, because finally, the Lancia brand is no ordinary brand. The Lancia brand is a brand with a lot of passion and a lot of energy. That's what I like about it. It's like Alfa Romeo, full of passion. The Italian passion is something that has to be respected, especially when it comes to the design. You see, there's just something that has to be... It's just a design. Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. Anyways, I seriously hope there's an electric version, because if there's an electric version that's going to come out, that will give Stellantis a sort of advantage, because at this point, when it comes to electric hatchbacks, only Stellantis and the Renault-Nissan alliance seem to be having the lead here. You see, they seem to be the only ones having the advantage, because especially like Fiat, Renault, you know, they have great advantage over there. And I think if many car manufacturers could start releasing electric hatchbacks, that would be awesome. I look forward to seeing them from Tesla as well, because I know BYD just released the BYD Dolphin Surf. Although I reviewed that car, and I have to say it's not exactly something I would dream of, but I get the point. It is very, very affordable. I give you that. But hey, when it comes to desirability, I feel like Stellantis takes the edge over here. And then Toyota is also starting to release some electric crossover SUV, like the Urban. They released the Urban EV again. I'm going to do a podcast about it if you guys want. Let me know in the comment section what are some vehicles you want me to do a podcast about, and I will look into it, guys. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up right now. Don't forget to check the link in the description for my car reviews of the cars I mentioned, and including the Lancia Ypsilon. And don't forget to push the like button, push the subscribe button, and push the follow button if you are watching this from Spotify, everyone. I will see you all next time. And I wish you all a great Friday, 15th of August. And, right, I'm going to wrap this up. Bye.